Hi there, you're listening to Lee from the Plump DJs, and this is the Liverpool Connection Podcast.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the Liverpool Connection Podcast. I'm your host Daz. This is my music and football episode, where I usually bring on a DJ or producer or musician that's obviously into music and football, but not the case today, and that's all right because there's a lot of musical stories to tell, and a lot of questions to ask my next guest. He's had many tracks and remixes out, some on Frameworks, Capital Heaven, some on my mate Chris Scott's 12 Point, also on Stripped Recordings and a plethora of others. He's based in London. I'm going to get into his roots and influences on music, but I welcome Ranj Kaler to the pod.
Thank you so much. Nice to be here.
I'm going to get straight into it then. So, you know, what was being played in your house growing up? Did that have an actual influence on you?
No, well, growing up, there was the radio playing. No one was really into music in my house. My sister, you know, when she was like a teenager, she started getting into early 80s jazz funk and things like that. And it started from there, right, really. And I just, there's one of my neighbours who lived a couple of doors away from me. He's about 4 or 5 years older than me, and we used to hang around together. And he bought a pair of cheap turntables, and you know, was just mucking about in the bedroom. And I think at the time I was probably about 9 or 10, so I think that's where it started really, and grew from there.
So were you into like the you know, break dancing and electro?
Yeah, big time. Right at the beginning of it all, watching, you know, Wild Style and Beach Street, and which I still do, you know. that kind of sound, that electro sound still influences the way I make music today, you know. It's still a huge part of me. So yeah. I was a bit too fat to break, to be honest with you. I was more of a popper. But, you know, I was always the one out of our group that supplied the music. I'm the one that had the stereo and the tapes and, you know, played. So I used to play the music in the playground, you know, which is kind of crazy when you think about it, really.
Did you have the Deerstalker hat?
No, I didn't. No, I had a Kangol. I had a Kangol.
Yeah, I had a Deerstalker. I had the Feeler Tracky.
Yeah. Oh, I was all about the Sergio Tacchini. That was that was my bag. Yeah.
The whole Tracky.
Yeah. Which I'm looking out for one now. I wouldn't mind a Tacchini tracksuit now, actually. You know, for lounging around home in. So,
well, go look at 80s casual classics.
Yeah, I'm always on there. I love it. Yeah.
I get a lot of my chackies from there, but I mean, I love that style.
I nearly bought a pair of Lois jumbo cords from there, if you remember them back.
Yes, I do. Mate, the thing is though that Lois cords were just built like for years, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I had probably in a 5-year span, I only had owned 2 of them because they lasted.
Yeah, they lasted so long.
Yeah. You buy a pair of jeans now and they're just, you know, you throw them away after a year. But
absolutely.
I just love. I don't know if you ever went to Liverpool. We had St. John's Market.
Right.
You know, they just set the stall up and they'd have tons and tons of Lois jeans and everything.
Love it.
And you just haggle with them, you know.
Yeah.
Those days are gone.
Yeah. We had the same in London in Tooting. We had Tooting Market where they used to sell the stuff like that. So, you know, similar thing.
Reminiscent. Yeah, those were the good old days.
Actually, Tooting Market is where I used to buy my bootleg electro tapes as well. The electro 1s and 2s and 3s. I had like the bootleg from a little stall outside. My mum wouldn't buy the full priced ones, so I had the little bootleg tapes of them, which is,
Well, like I obviously you can see me China collection. It's all a D.
Yeah, I did notice.
Yeah. That's just a third of them, but I mean, my parents used to buy me the 4-stripe Adidas.
Yeah.
And I'd used to rip off that 4th stripe. Mates would make fun of me all the time. They're like, you can still see the stitching. So my first YTS check went on a pair of Adidas, and that's when I was 16 when I finished school, and I've never looked back. And I just and I only wear about 10 pairs. I'm more of a collector now. I keep the boxes and everything, and the tags and everything. But it's just, it takes you back to a day of your life where you didn't really have to worry about things. And that's how music was as well. I mean, especially in the 80s, music was just like fun. It was, you dance and everything. And then, the world changed. Thatcher, like, for me, ruined the northwest of England, and just were bad times. But, 80s music was just, a bit silly, a bit, camp. We all loved it, didn't we?
Yeah.
I loved all the electro stuff as well. It like the American scene was something completely different. And that's what I was really into. So with the DJing thing, I mean, if you're playing, at 9 years old on a mate's equipment, when did you start to really get into it?
Well, so what happened is it was all of us that we hang around in school, we were all kind of into it. And it was, I'll tell you what, it was about 1984, and I pestered my mum for some decks, and obviously it wasn't going to be Technics. So at 12 years old, I think I bought a pair of, they were called LADs, London Acoustic Development, and they were in Wimbledon, which was like just a bus ride away from where I lived. And so I got a pair of those decks, and it was just like mucking about at home, really. And that's where it started. But, because before that, what I was doing, I was getting the family hi-fi, and I was playing records, and I was mixing in a tape, and I used to press the tape and the phono button at the same time so you could hear both. And I broke it. So, I think I just kept pestering my mum until she got me them. So, and that was it. I can't remember like a nucleus, a start of it. It was something that I can always remember doing, Well,
I think when you start on really bad, cheaper equipment,
belt drives,
when you finally do get on Techniques, it's just a breeze.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, the first time I managed, when I was 15, I managed to get a warm-up gig at Cinderella Rockefellers in Kingston, in Surrey, and I told them I was 18, basically, and because it was funny because I stayed there a few years, and on my 18th birthday, I went, "Oh, it's my birthday today," and they went, "How old are you?" And I said, "I'm 18," and they were like, "Have you been all this time?" But because and that's how it was. No one checked ID back then. This was like the 80s. But when I first got there, that was my first ever try at Technics 1210s. Was live in front of people.
Oh, wow.
And it was a car crash, basically, because I was so used to my belt-driven, nasty, and it didn't even have a tempo switch like that. The tempo was a knob like this, so it was like, But I learned in front of people, and that's what I did, really.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's pocket money for you as well, isn't it?
Well, working there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was quite good money, actually. Quite good money. It wasn't too bad because, you know, I kind of left. I had no studying was really not my forte. So, you know, as soon as I could get out of school, I got out of education. And I literally started DJing at the club 2 weeks after I finished school. And I DJ'd every weekend from that point till 2019. So so yeah, it's quite crazy actually. Quite crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, no, that's mental. That
It is actually quite mental. Like I've never had a normal job. Like never had an employer. You know, nothing like that. It's crazy. It's crazy.
So, I mean, you also you worked at you were running Creative Sounds.
Yeah.
Did that for what, 15 years, I believe, right?
Well, no, I was there. I wasn't there. I think I was about 4 years. I was there, so I was there for the last 4 years.
I mean, for a DJ as well, that, you know, working in a record shop, you get to pick basically what you know, all the new tracks that comes in. That's why I was very envious. We had 3Beat in Liverpool.
Oh yeah.
Records, and I tried to get a job there so many times just so I could get the latest stuff first. Because you know, as you know, when you work at a record shop, you get the first dibs, and then you kind of go, all right, you can have this, you can have this, I'm keeping this, you can have that, I'm keeping load. So yeah, I mean, it must have been really good for you.
It was really good. It was good. It was really good. But you got to remember that from being 15 working in Cinderella Rockefellers, I applied to a lot of promo companies. So from about 16, 17, I was getting sent a hell of a lot of vinyl all throughout my years. All the mail outs, like the Power Promotions and the Hyperactives. It's crazy when you think you used to get a stack of vinyl waiting for you outside your door in the morning. Crazy when you think about it now. But that's how it was, you know. So by the time I did get to there wasn't really a novelty there of having the new tunes, because I've always been used to getting sent stuff before they came out anyway, you know, for many years. You know, like a lot of us DJs, you know, used to do that, getting our reaction forms and filling them in, and then first mailing them and then faxing them, you know, every week. It's like doing your charts and, you know, your Mixmag chart and stuff like that. So, you know, so being in the record shop is really good. The best bit about being in the record shop for me was the banter, was people coming in and the social aspect of it. You know, it was unbelievable. It was the best time of my life, to be honest. We used to have such a laugh in that place. It wasn't like work at all, working in a record shop.
Well, I mean, it is. It's a social place, you know, and you hear a tune in the club on the weekend, and Monday morning you're at the record shop asking for and trying to tell the actual employee, like, it goes like this, you know.
Yeah, I used to get that all the time.
And you know, I would be given so many tracks that didn't even come close to what I was trying to tell him. I can only imagine being on the other side of the counter just going, what is this talking about? He sounds like he's still on E.
Well, what I used to do at that case, I used to say, oh, where did you hear it? Because if I knew where he heard it, or she heard it, then I would know what type of track it was. So it was just giving them a pile of those tracks and hopefully one of them's in there, you know, kind of thing. But yeah, it's an impossible thing to do, really. It's an impossible thing to do.
I just miss days, Ranj. You know, I mean, it's obviously, you know, with the internet, you get on Beatport or Tracksource or Juno, and it's just very soulless, kind of.
It's too accessible. It's too accessible, you know. It's the hunt and the search, and that finding that thing that, oh my God, that's amazing. And then getting on the tube home and like, come on, get home, I want to listen to this, you know. getting it home, and then it sounds terrible. You know, sometimes.
What have I spent money on?
Yeah, exactly. So many of them. Yeah.
It's the whole thing. It was the artwork. You especially if you bought a vinyl album. Like I remember like getting hybrids, wide angles.
Brilliant, yeah.
I would look at every picture. I would read every word.
Yeah.
And, you know, again, with online music, you've lost that.
Yeah. No, yeah, absolutely. It's not an event anymore. It's not an event anymore. It's something you flick through. It's lost it. But there are, I mean, you know, this younger generation are into their vinyl, so it's a growing thing again. So there is hope, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to hear a lot more producers are putting stuff out on vinyl again.
Yeah, well, that's my plan for this year. I'd like to do an album and get an album out on vinyl, and a vinyl only album though. This is an experiment to see how it goes, you know.
No, I mean, again, there's nothing like it, like being sent vinyl or going to buy it and then bringing it home, taking off the you know, the outer
sleeve.
plastic. Yeah, and the smell of vinyl. There's just the smell of new vinyl is. Yeah. It's to me, it's like being outside in the rain and you can smell the rain.
Yeah. You
smell that brand new vinyl, it's just again it takes you back to my, you know, when I was 15, I bought my first like Depeche Mode record.
Yeah, which one?
I just can't get enough. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was just like mesmerized by electronic music back then. It went from electro for me to, you know, Depeche Mode, New Order, Joy Division. I just loved the synth, and it got me hooked. And what do you remember? What dance track really got you like? This is why I want to make music.
There was a few. I mean, I used to after the electro, I got into the freestyle, hip hop freestyle kind of Latin sort of stuff, the Latin hip hop, and there was a lot of dubs by oh my god, Latin Rascals, heroes of mine, Latin Rascals. So I think it was listening to the edits of things like that wanted me to, you know, get into doing that because I found it fascinating how they did it. So, you know, it was that.
Well, it's like had Greg Wilson on, and you know he's just a dictionary of music, and it was great to like listen to him and with all the edits he's done.
Yeah,
you know, I still find it mesmerized, and that every like producer or DJ has their own story of like what brought them into like electronic music, dance music, and it's so great to hear all these different stories. For you, for production wise, I mean, you know, as you said, you were DJing for a long time, residency.
Hello, long time.
I still can't believe you were resident of Stringfellows.
Yeah, 20 years nearly.
If people in the States don't know, Stringfellows is a gentleman's club in London. So, I mean, what kind of music are you playing at Stringfellows?
Okay. So when I started there, it was, you know, it had to be, you know, middle of the road type music, you know, the kind of music you would expect, you know, the Bryan Adams, Bon Jovi, you know, the usual. You had to be open-minded because it depends on the customer you get in. So, you know, you get good customers. If you get a good customer walk in who likes a particular type of music, then that type of music is being played all night just to cater for him because he's going to spend 40, 50 grand in a night, you know, so you have to cater for this guy, you know. But usually it's stuff, you know, this middle of the road stuff, a lot of like R&B, no hip hop, no rap, because Peter hated it, so no rap. But as long as the song was kind of sexy and the girls could dance to it, you could play it, you know. So I've always been an open format type DJ. So even I used to look at it like the music I like, the, you know, progressive, the underground stuff. That was personal stuff, but this was like my day work. I called it my day work, you know. So you just have to be open-minded with, you know, musically. And
you didn't have to get on the mic, did you?
Yeah. I was a compare. I used to call the girls on the stage, and you know, I'm constantly on the mic. You're constantly on the mic, constantly all night.
Here comes Venus.
Yeah. It's crazy, but it's funny because okay. So when I'd never been on a mic before, really. So when I first got there, and I did like an audition, and I went on the microphone, and I tried to talk all deep, slow, and sexy like this. And the guy my friend of mine, DJ Terry, that got me the job there, the manager went up to him and goes, I don't want to see him here ever again. He's terrible like that. And he goes, look, you got one more try. So that weekend, I just practiced my DJ voice. There's a nice speaker there. Who's that on the phone? All weekend I spoke like that. So when I got there, I did it naturally and I got the job. So, but yeah, you have to really emphasize what you're saying, you know.
Man, I bet you've seen something.
I was in a little, where I was, we're kind of hidden away. So even though there was so much going on, famous people, this, that, we were totally oblivious of it. We only found out after the night, so-and-so was here, so-and-so was here. Sometimes where my DJ box was here, there used to be my DJ box is here, and there was a window there and a window there. And the other side of those windows, obviously no glass, it's just like a window frame. And there were two VIP sections. So sometimes you'd get like a VIP, someone famous in the VIP sections there. And then, you know, Noel Gallagher was there one night, you know, asking for Defected, would you believe? Defected music, funky house, crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, I know. I wasn't expecting that either. I think that was more for his wife was into it more than he was, to be honest.
Yeah, I can't really see him having a jig.
No, he was though. He was like dancing to it and singing along. Bit of, you know, crazy.
So when did the production side come in?
Well, so basically, what happened is. You know, God rest his soul. Like, I was at Stringfellow for 20 years. So Peter Stringfellow always said, you know, he really liked me. You know, as long as he was there, you know, I've got a job to say and the other. Anyway, it came to 2018, and he got diagnosed with cancer. So that put the worry in me, really. So at that point, I thought, oh, what am I going to do if something happens? I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll buy myself an iMac. I'll put Ableton on it. I'll buy a Push 2. And I'll learn. And I'll learn to do it. And this was like 2017. So I got home. I switched it all on. I looked at a few tutorials on YouTube. I probably tried maybe half an hour doing something. I thought, I can't do this. I switched it off. And I didn't switch it back on until March 2020. So 3 years it was sitting there. I was throwing my coat on it and stuff. So obviously what happened with COVID, so obviously Peter passed away, so which was sad. And then about a year later, COVID hit. And that's when the club closed down. And that was actually my last night working there. I didn't know at the time, but it was. So I thought, oh, what am I going to do? So I thought, okay, just in case. So I thought I'd sell my Mac, my Push 2, with the Ableton on it. So I thought, okay, I'll sell that. So I switched it on just to make sure it's all working and stuff. And I don't know what happened, but I started playing about with it, and something snapped in me, and I kind of worked out how to do it in a very rudimental way. And so it started from there, really. So I did something, and I did sort of tune-ish, some beats, some bass line, a little bit of vocal, and it kind of resembled a song, So I was hooked. I was absolutely hooked from that point, and that was it. And I've been on it every day since. So
I think when I first got Ableton, I looked at it and I was just like, I have no clue.
It's so daunting, it's so daunting.
Well, it is when you go through, when you have hardware and then you kind of go the digital, the Ableton stuff. And I was just completely lost. And I did the same thing. I went on YouTube, tried to find good tutorials, but then they'd speak so fast, and then you're stopping the tutorial, and then you're trying to do the same thing on the computer, and your mind just doesn't. But then I left it alone for a while, and then I went back, and I was more at ease with it, because when you first get it, you just get so frustrated. You want to throw the damn thing out the window. You just, if you just kind of calm down and just try and do a drum loop first, slowly, it adds to it. But I mean, if you only started in like 2019,
and don't forget, I've got no idea about music theory, about music, playing an instrument. I can't read anything. I'm totally clueless when it comes to like keys and notes, and people talk to me and I'm thinking, you might as well be talking in German. I haven't got a clue what you're talking about, so I was a total novice in March 2020. That's
not years ago.
I know, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. It's gone at light speed.
So what do you like producing the most? Is it the breaks or the...
I love producing breaks. I love it. What I find is with house and 4/4 and progressive house and stuff, there's rules that you have to abide by to get it sounding right. This is something that I've learned, by trial and error. But with breaks, there's no rules really.
Mm-hmm.
You can do, as long as you've got like a kind of like a good kick and a good snare, anything goes, as long as it sounds good. And that's what I like, because you can really like be experimental, and you can really like try different things and see what works and what doesn't. If you do that with a 4/4, it can sound really good, but can also sound terrible. And I don't do well with terrible, so I like to keep it electronic and breaks, really, because you can't lose, really.
Well, I mean, you can kind of do 150 up to 135.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but I've always loved breaks. I mean, I started with listening to like funky breaks, plump DJs, the new school breaks, Adam Freeland, Renee Pilgrim, and then obviously hybrid were massive for me.
Huge.
That was, prog breaks, and it was something that I think was lacking in the other breaks. Is I like to feel the music. It needs to like move me.
You need emotion. You need emotion in there.
100%. Any kind of music needs to have emotion for me.
Yeah, some of the breaks back then, it was kind of sterile. There wasn't much, there wasn't much feeling there. It was technically really good, But when Hybrid came in with those lush strings, you know, it just.
What's your favourite track
of them?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I love Sniper.
You know, I was about to say Sniper's my favourite, just because it grows and grows, and then
it grows, but it's very. Oh dear, sorry. It's very subtle. There's not much going on, but what is going on makes it sound so, oof, you know. But they've done so many. I mean, so many of their remixes and their Echoplex mixes as well used to. You know, they were crazy. They were absolutely crazy, you know. Oh, sorry.
No, Hybrid and like Infusion, you know, like Australian breaks as well are just killing it. They always have. But yeah, breaks just for me, you know, they've
I've got to say though, for me, Luke Chable is a king when it comes to breaks. Those kind of atmospheric, out of this world breaks. No one does it like him. No one.
Phil K, same kind of thing.
Yeah,
you know? It was just he had the you know, sprinkle gold dust on like everything, but everything always sounded a bit different. That's the thing with Luke, and I think with Phil. There wasn't because, you know, I'm a big progressive house fan as well, but I'm just seeing the same formula over again, and I don't mean to like be too harsh, like the Argentinians, they're all it sounds the same.
All sounds like it needs they're trying to get in a Hernán set. Yeah, to me, that's what it sounds like to me. You know.
Mm-hmm. No, spot on. I you know, it's great production and it's good music, but it's sounding too samey for me.
Yeah, I find a lot of producers make music for a certain DJ. They're not making it for themselves. They're making it for the Digweeds, for the Sashas, you know. And the music needs to have your own personality in there, I think. You know, and I think that's missing from a lot of the music out at the moment. You know, it's lacking personality.
Yeah, I 100%. I mean, that's the thing with Bandcamp and Beatport. Bedroom producers can produce their own music, you know, which is great, but the production-wise is not there. That's why, you know, it's good to have. If you know how to engineer, how to, you know, really produce your own stuff, you've got to get it sounding spot on. And I just think a lot of the stuff on Bandcamp and Beatport isn't produced very well.
No.
You know, even the ideas there, when you actually like put the headphones on, because that's the biggest test for me, putting the headphones on, locking myself in the room and actually listening to the track.
Yeah.
You just hear like, oh no, that doesn't sound good, you know, because you only get a snippet on Beatport. So, you know,
and the best snippet is the best one, the best bit. So, you know, so that's a good thing about Spotify, really. You know, I hate to say it, but that's a good thing that you can listen to something in its full length, you know. But no one's going to go on Beatport, find a tune, and then go on Spotify, listen to it, and go, yeah, okay, you know, it's not going to happen, is it? So,
but I think the more you listen to music, though, the more in the first minute, I'll know if I like the track or not.
Yeah.
I don't.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's probably less than a minute, to be honest. Probably about 20 seconds. You know, you can tell. I mean, as long as it sounds, you know, different, you know, and interesting, I think you're halfway there.
Yeah, well, I'm happy again with so many. Like, what's your take on like all these different genres are popping up, and I think it's just.
I hate genres. I totally hate genres. I hate it. That's why, you know, I like to put many different genres in each track. I don't like this pigeonhole. It's just good music and not good music to me. You know, and that's what it is. And people are so stuck on genres that's why you get that's why you used to go to clubs in the 90s and you used to hear so many different types of music in one set, and now you don't even hear that in one night. It's just the same. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of genres, to be honest.
Yeah, there's just way too many of them. Every day there's a new genre coming out on Beatport, and you're just like, well, that sounds like melodic house, but no, it's not melodic house, it's Afro house. And then Afro house it'll be something else in a year. And then
raw techno.
Yeah, deep
raw
house.
trance,
House is not even deep house anymore.
No, it's not.
I'm like, what is this? And then a lot of the breaks that I've been getting are in electronica.
Yeah.
I just can't keep up with it.
No, I know.
But again, it's just finding these tracks. Like I'll go straight to the electronica section on Beatport because that's where I usually will buy most of my stuff.
Yeah. I mean, indie dance is a good place to go as well. Yeah. That's good. But yeah, you do have to go through all the genres to find good music, really. Mm-hmm. I don't know. We're too reliant on Beatport and their genres, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's some person that they pay who's in the back room at Beatport coming out with all these like.
I think it's AI. I think it's AI doing it now. I think they've sat the staff and they've got AI to do it. Really, because some of the things you see on there, you're like, no. Even anyone with ears could tell that's not meant to be there. Especially in electronica, I'm usually beaten by some EDM crap on electronica, and I'm bringing the label. Can you sort this out, please?
I agree with you. It's just, some of the stuff should not be in some of these electronica or progressive house or whatever. But back to, I do want to talk about like social media. I mean, for a producer and for a DJ, especially like our age, it's really tough. And have you heard of Super Progressive Will?
Yeah. I'm playing with him in March. Actually, doing a gig together.
I think he's doing a fantastic job. He's teaching. I mean, he just turned 30, and I think he's doing fantastic with his podcast and his Instagram. Trying to teach the younger generation about progressive house and everything, but also trying to teach the older producers about like how Instagram works and the analytics of it, because it's very daunting for I think for a producer who's in their 40s or even 50s to be like, how do I get out there, because it is tough.
Yeah, no, it is tough. And I mean, like back in the day we used to rely on flyers and stuff to get your name about, but now it's really, and it's so saturated that what you do, and talent doesn't equate to followers. So you've got people with no talent that are having it right off because they've got 56,000 followers on and I just think it's a terrible situation that hopefully might come to an end one day. We'll see.
Yeah, I hope so. Because a lot of DJs out there are very, very, very good technically, and they're not getting booked because they've only got like 2,000, 3,000 on Instagram, and they have some pictures of them fly fishing.
Yeah.
And people are going, I'm not booking you. You've got fly fishing on your Instagram. Well, I mean, that's what you do in your spare time. I just don't understand it. It does piss me off because there's so many good DJs that are in this scene that just don't get booked because of that.
But it's DJs, but also you've got other artists as well. There's loads of other, like singers and stuff. There's so many like great bands out there that that are just not going to amount to anything because they haven't got the presence on social media. So that the record labels are not going to. They're not going to sign anyone up without a huge following already there. They don't want to do the work. They want the artist to do the work, and it's just very, very unfair. Very unfair. It should go on merit and talent, but I'm living in the clouds.
That's that's the place of time that we live in. So we've got to deal with it.
But the other side of me also thinks that well, I had my time in the 90s and stuff. People of our age, we had our maybe it's their world now, and we're sidestepping out of it slowly. So you got to look at it that way as well. That was a big. I was kind of desperate of finding DJ gigs, and then I thought to myself, look, I'm over 50 years old now. It's not fair me taking a gig from someone young who's just starting off, or So I feel like it's their world now.
Nah, mate, you're a part of it. I mean, again, for only producing, and I'll keep bringing this back, for only producing for 5 years. I mean, you're on fantastic labels, Frameworks, Capital Heaven. I mean, putting out quality breaks on. Thank you, Framework, for all those lovely Bandcamp reworks.
Oh no! I've got like a 2-hour set worth there now. There's loads of people that have done a classic Framework breaks mix. You know that. Mm-hmm. The Cascade one was brilliant.
Yeah, just knocking it out, and then like your 12-point mix is fantastic. Like,
thank
absolutely,
you.
Like I've known Chris for a little while. I brought him on the podcast about a year ago, and we've stayed good mates. And I'm so happy that with Forensic, obviously, but with 12-point, it kind of is opening a different avenue. Stripped obviously with Norman. And then the Paul Circulation, the remix. I mean, you're knocking it out the park. I mean,
it's crazy. I can't believe it. To be fair, it's kind of unreal. It's kind of unreal. I'm basically just making music that I want to listen to, really. So, and I'm just grateful that other people want to listen to it as well. So it is crazy. It is crazy when you think about it. I mean, the release I had on Framework on Capital Heaven, I think that must be about 3 years ago. So I was only been doing it a couple of years at that point, which is unbelievable. This, I think I was just being a bit cheeky and just sending stuff off, not expecting them to be, signed, and they were. So,
well, how do you do that? Like, when you make a new track, do you specifically go, all right, I think this label will like it, or do you ship it out to? And
no. I'll listen to it and I'll think what label that will. I never send a track to more than 2 labels, and not at the same time. If one turns one down, then I'll send it to another label. But I'll listen to it and I'll think, like that. Or if I'll make something and I'll remember that someone said, they're thinking about starting a breaks label or something. So, do you remember you said maybe you like some of this, So that kind of thing, really. But I never make a track for a label. It's always because, like I said, what the music I make is totally trial and error. I'll try something. If it doesn't work, the undo button is my best friend. Undo, and then try, and then. So I always end up with something that I don't know what I'm going to end up with, but then I can see, I reckon so and so like that, or so and so like that. So, yeah.
Now, make like a load of tracks, not finish them, and then kind of go back, because I know some producers have got like 100 tracks in their locker, but they're not even finished, and this is years ago.
I've got about 20 at the moment. I've got about 20 unfinished tracks.
Oh wow!
Yeah, but I'm still, I see every time I make a track, I kind of look at it as another lesson. So I'm trying something new. I'm trying a new. Maybe I'm using a plug-in that I've never used before, and it's always like a lesson. So some of the music on there are not salvageable at all. I do go through them sometimes, and I think no. So, but there are a few. But I've been doing so many kind of remixes recently that the original stuff has taken a bit of a back seat, to be honest. I only had three releases last year, and they were all in November, December. So and I've got no original stuff coming, so which I need to get my finger out and finish.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Well, I love the new track which is on Stripped.
Thank you so much.
It's a beautiful track, and I mean, it comes with two very good remixes as well.
Yeah.
And I think they're so different. That's what I like about the remixes. You have to make them different.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Totally. Yeah. Yeah, there has to be. It has to be. Actually, when I do a remix, I always have the original on hand to make sure it doesn't sound too similar, because sometimes when you're using parts, it can,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it has to be something different. It has to be.
So what last breaks track would you like to try and remix?
What breaks track I'd like to remix?
Yeah, what classic? Would you have a go at Sniper?
Oh, I'd love to have a go at actually Unfinished Symphony. I really would. If I got the parts to that, I'd love to. The original one there, okay, the original. There were two versions, weren't there? So the first version, I'd love to do that. There's so many. Maybe I'd really like to do Luke Chable, Melbourne. Mm-hmm. That'd be what I'd like to do as well.
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, again, how can you get better than perfection on Melbourne?
You can't.
Yeah. Well, what's your goals for 2025 then?
I would like to do at least one original track. I'd like to.
Come on, get your thing.
I'd like to do an album. Like I said earlier, I would like to do an album and press it on vinyl. But an album like a mixed genre album, not just breaks. Like a drum, because I've done a couple of drum and bass things. So I'd like to do like a drum and bass thing, a chill out thing, a vocal thing, a house thing. Remember when you used to get artist albums back in the day from like Depeche Mode, Michael Jackson, and all the songs, they're all different. They're all different types of songs. So that's what I'd like to do, an album of different songs, having some guest vocalists, guest producers with me. I've made a few friends recently with this, so that's the goal, to do an album, definitely.
Yeah, don't push yourself in one genre. That's the thing. I think if you're a young producer, don't just define yourself with one sound.
No, and that's it, and that's what a lot of these kids are doing now, I have to say.
Mm-hmm. Especially for breaks, and I think drum and bass is number one. Same
What's happened to drum and bass? It's just all drops, isn't it? It's just all rises and drops and rises and drops. And where's the vibe? Where's the flow? Where's the living in the moment, not just waiting for a twisted bass line to come in?
Yeah.
Oh dear. These kids, they don't know they're born, do they?
I'm a massive LTK Buckham and Pangea.
Oh, yeah, lovely. All that liquid stuff, yeah, lovely.
Again, emotional drum and bass. But I'm with you. You listen to drum and bass. I mean, we're sounding like two old farts again. But
who cares?
youngsters, all they want to hear is the drop. I mean,
the drop, and like some kind of wow bass line that, you know, I don't know.
Well, my next question for you: where do you see like dance music in the next 5-10 years?
Oh God, it can go either one way or another, can't it? Really, it can go either. It's either going to get totally sterile and made by AI, or, and I really hope this is the case, it's going to go back into that organic feeling. People are they're going to see through the synthetic. You know, I really do believe, you know, and I really do hope it just goes back underground. You know, so I hope it does split, you know, and they can keep their AI music, and hopefully the quality will go back underground. Who knows? We're in such a weird time. Who knows?
I think in America they coined the term EDM. You know, again, it's all about the drop and everything. But I think, you know, I hope 50% of these kids that go to these massive EDM festivals will start to get bored of, like, it's like pop music, like pop trance, pop.
Yeah.
They'll get tired of it and they want something more, you know,
substantial.
Yeah, and they'll start looking more underground.
Well, I just hope by then there's going to be enough clubs to support that, because the way it's looking, there's going to be nowhere for these people to go. You know, it's probably going to go back to how it was in the Bronx in the 80s with like block parties. You know, it's probably going to start right back at the beginning again and then build up again. So who knows?
Well, I had some guests come on and kind of tell me, you know, and I think they're right. There's, especially in the UK and over here in America, you know, if you've got a couple $100, right, you would rather go to a festival because they've got 30, 40 different artists playing, rather than go to a club and see, you know, your favorite DJ, because that's like one DJ for one night. Plus, in a club, you know, you give me a low ceiling with maybe you know, a strobe light and a good sound system, I'm there. I don't need all the pyrotechniques. I don't need these 3D fucking characters coming out, looking like they're grabbing me. I don't need any of that.
No.
It comes first, and I think in this generation, the music seems to be second. The visual.
Well, see, the music now has become so monotonous. Like when you go see these melodic techno events, all the music sounds the same. You know, it's all that, and so it's all these visuals. I think it's to stop people from getting bored. You know, where before the music was so good, you never needed the visuals because the music is all you needed. But these visuals had to be brought in because the music's boring, I find. That's what I feel. You know, it started with that dubstep kind of sound with those big visuals that used to follow the music, and I don't know.
Well, I see in the background, I see Communicate, Sade and Digweed. So
yeah.
That was an album. That was a mixed album. Good God, you know, they're still at the top of their game. Good.
It's unreal, isn't it? It's unreal.
It is. Unreal. And I mean, them together is, you know, match made in heaven, because you've got John, who is more of like the chugging style, and you've got Sasha, the more emotional. So it's like fire, you know, fire.
It's the yin and yang, isn't it?
Yeah, and like to me, they're still my favorite DJs. You know, but if you have to ask me who's better, I'd say Sasha, just because I like the more atmospheric stuff.
Yeah, me too. Well, I go through different. I'm sometimes Sasha, I'm sometimes Digweed, I'm sometimes Sasha, and sometimes it depends. You know, it depends how I feel at the time. You know. I do think they need to do a new album though, together. One more. one more album, one more mix album together, one more.
Maybe Northern Exposure-ish.
Northern Exposure 4.
Oh, good God. Like still to this day, that's probably one of my favorite albums, just because, I mean, again, it's more breaky.
Yeah.
But it's oh my God, These Waves.
Yeah.
Just classic. And William.
Yeah, it's absolutely classic. And what I do love about them is that you can listen to it, especially, you can listen to that from that first intro, of the water and and it takes you back. It takes you back to where you first heard it. It had such a profound effect, that you instantly go back to where you first heard it. And that's what I love about it. Although I haven't listened to it for years, so maybe I should do one day.
Yeah, the same. I mean, you can listen to it anywhere. It's if you're getting ready for the club, put it on. If you're down from the club, put it on. If you're cleaning your house on a Sunday, put it on.
Yeah, but they need to do a new one.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Man, it's been a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you so much.
How quickly an hour goes by.
Oh, is it? Blimey.
Yeah, when you're just talking about the things you love, but get your finger out, get that album finished.
Yeah, I will.
I love all the remixes you're doing, and I can't wait to listen to what you've got planned for this year.
Thank you so much.
I would like to hear more of you, less of the remixes. I know remixes pay bills and everything.
Yeah.
Well, somewhat. But I want to hear original stuff from you.
It's coming. Once I do one, they'll all follow. So.
Well, you sent me that track with the ambient one.
Yeah.
Piano is absolutely stunning, and you're telling me you know nothing about
I know nothing. I just use my ears. I press buttons. I use my ears, and if it sounds good, I'll keep it. If it doesn't sound right, I'll delete it. And that's how I work.
Love it. Well, thanks everyone for listening. Please go check out Ranj Kaler. Go to Beatport, go to Juno, go to Spotify. He has a Bandcamp page as well. Bandcamp gives him most of the money, which, is really good because he makes the tracks. He remixes the tracks. He should get the money. That's it.
There are a few freebies on there, though, if you want to check them out. So
I checked them out yesterday.
Oh, brilliant. Excellent.
Yeah, but please, go check it out. You don't have a website yet, do you?
No, I don't. You sound like my wife now. She keeps telling me, Doc, I need to start a website. So I'll be starting a website soon. I will be there.
Yeah, you got to, mate. Come on. Get up with the kiddies.
Okay, I will do. Down with the kids.
Thanks everyone again for listening. Please subscribe, put your notifications on, and keep expanding your earbuds to new artists and new music, please. Until next time, we'll see you later.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.